go, and there we go, and there we go. All right. So we are now live on YouTube. We're live on Instagram, and I'm going to go into this thing kind of deep. We're going to go into this thing kind of deep. So stick with me. I'm doing this on YouTube because I need you guys to have a recording, a fresh recording of this. So I'm doing it on YouTube, but I'm also doing it on these other two channels. So let me make sure. Yeah. So I'm also doing it on these other two channels. So if you can get on YouTube, please get on YouTube because most of my focus will be on YouTube. And most of my focus will be on YouTube, and it'll be I can kind of do because I have to record it now. TikTok is not recording, so everything I may say something amazing, and you're gonna go, "Oh my God, did you save that? What's going on, my love?" You said, "Would you save that?" Yes, I did, but it will be on YouTube, okay? And that's just the whole thing. So we got that. Hey, welcome YouTube, welcome Instagram, welcome Facebook, welcome everybody. And so today I want to take you to a different level. Most of us are in the natural level. We live this natural life. We live in the position of doing natural things, but I want to show you something that goes beyond that. I'm going to use some things in the Bible, but I probably won't be going through the Bible as much as I possibly can. But I'm going to show you some of the things. Sorry about this, guys. I'm going to show you some of the things that have actually taken place. So one of the things that happens with me is most of my life is supernatural. And when I say that, you have different people that operate in different levels. You have some people who believe in I got a head on. My God. You have some people that believe in the supernatural, and some people that just believe that God is a good God. He's an amazing God. He's a wonderful God, whatever the situation is. So those of you that are on everybody, I need everybody that is watching me from YouTube, to Instagram, to TikTok, to Facebook. I need you to go and share it right now. Go share this with somebody because I'm going to transition your whole mindset today. I'm going to put you in a position where you are in control. Now, for those of you that are here because you want to know why it didn't work, you will understand all of those things today. Today, I'm going to give you probably one of my best teachings on these types of things. And when you understand what I'm about to help you with, what I'm about to get you to understand, you will elevate. You will move to the next level. And those of you that are a part of my mentoring group, I'll go into the scriptures and the passages a little bit deeper because I'm only going to utilize 30 minutes of this because I want to put you in a position where you're going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And so let's get into this thing. So where are we starting it? Where is it? Now, if you were with me, I don't know if it's yesterday or the day before yesterday, I told you to look at Jeremiah, the first chapter. And when you looked at Jeremiah, the first chapter, there is a lot more in it because you have to come from a spiritual understanding and a spiritual standpoint. A lot of us come from a standpoint where we are understanding from the natural form and the natural terminology of where we've been dealing with. But I need you to hear me from the spirit. Now, I teach this. Do not look at this book, whether you look at it online, whether you look at it in a tangible version, do not look at it from one dimension. However, the dimension that you should concentrate on more than anything else is the fluency of the spirit. Now, what does that mean? That means that the spirit is from a place called Kairos time. Now, what is Kairos time? Kairos time is cyclical. It means it is constantly going around and around and around. I heard this brother the other day explain it like being on back in the day we had a record, and it went around and around and around and around and around. The end of the record and the beginning of the record were basically on the same line. So that meant that the moment that I said something at the beginning, it actually already has an ending to it. I know that's going to be kind of deep, but follow me. So here's what you need to understand. Always have the end in mind when you start the beginning. Always have the ending in mind when you start the beginning. So when you understand that, then you understand how to think spiritually and how to think like God. Okay, now everybody, those of you again, make sure you share this video. Go ahead and share this video because you want people around you that are actually operating at that level. You want people around you that understand in business, in relationships, in friendships, And whatever you do, if you understand what I'm about to share with you, you will begin to operate in a level of success, almost to the point that you understand success. Now, understand this. Success does not mean you're going to make billions of dollars. Success doesn't mean a whole lot of things that you think success means, because success is not what we think it is. Success is, somebody write this down if I can get you to write this down. Success is a system that produces what you desire. Creating a system that produces what you desire. Say that again. Success is creating a system that produces what you desire. Most of us think success is the fact that I went out and I bought something, or I tried to win a game and I won the game. The winning of the game is two-dimensional. Play the game, win the game. Okay? But success means that I have created a system that will produce what I want on a continual basis, because it's a system. So when I say you're successful, that means you've come up with something that will succeed. Does that make sense? You've come up with something that will succeed. Now, when you think of things at the ending the same way they do at the beginning, what you'll find is that you are now putting yourself in a point of structure where you are now universally available to universally succeeding, because it always works. Okay? So when you follow what I'm about to show you, because all of these passages, everything that I read, every place that I go in this entire book teaches this same thing. All right. Now, let me start with this right here. Let's go back to this. I said Jeremiah. So in Jeremiah, the 1st chapter and the 5th verse, the principle that we're dealing with is preparation. We'll just call it preparation. I'm going to say precognition. Thanks, Sister James. So, YouTube, thank you, sweetie. Now, so check it out. Now, I'm going to read this, but I want you to hear it in the spirit. I'm going to teach you guys how I do this, how I read this, how I understand this. So, if it says this, it says, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. Before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Then it says, then the verse 6 talks about I'm a child. Verse 7 said, don't say that I'm a child. Okay, so if you want to put a title on this, a title, collision course. Collision course. I'm telling you, what I'm about to share with you will change everything. It has done it for me. Let me tell you a story. So, we had a mishap where we trusted somebody to do something and they didn't do it. The Lord spoke to me and said, forgive this person. I don't want to use their sex, because if I say it, that kind of nails it down. Forgive this person. And it took me a minute, because we were desolate. We had no money, because the money that we did and the money, we borrowed enough money so we could go on this particular event. They didn't show up. And so I'm in my prayer, and I said, okay, let me pray. So I'm praying, God, I really need this to work. And he said, forgive her. And so it took me a minute to forgive her. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in situations right now. Hear me very closely, because I'm about to set you free. It took me a minute to forgive her. Now, forgiveness is not letting them off the hook for what they did. That's not forgiveness. Okay? Forgiveness is restoring them to the point before they hurt you, and then looking at them from the eyes of the Spirit. What I mean by that, okay? Follow me. Forgiveness is not letting them off the hook. You're going to say, oh my God, why does he get away with this? That all of that has nothing to do with forgiveness. What forgiveness says is, I place you back in the position before you hurt me. Now, before you hurt me does not mean I pull you back. That's restoration. That is not, if someone hurts you, forgiving them does not say come back to the place, do the same thing to me again. That's called restoration. You're talking about forgiveness. Okay? You're not supposed to forget it. Why? Because forgetting it does not give the victory. The victory is when that comes to your mind, you have to say, I beat it. It hurt me. I beat it. I'm still here. I'm still alive. I beat it. So you have to understand that restoration and forgiveness are two totally different things. So if a person hurts your feelings, or a person does something to you, and you go your separate ways, in your heart, you have to say they are released from any obligations to fix what they've done. So He speaks to me and says, I want you to forgive her. And I'm going, I said it anyway. I'm going, I can't forgive her, Lord, because she's on about her business. We're desolate. We barely have food. We barely have food. So this happens for 3 months, people. Now, 3 months. My wife is a tramp. She's a trooper. This happened for 3 months. We were getting lower and lower in food. We haven't paid our bills in 3 months. It was just terrible. God said, forgive her. I said, okay, I forgave her. I finally got it out of my heart and forgave her. Nothing changed. Bills were still the same. All the things were still the same. Nothing happened. One day, the cell phone bill was 3 months behind. First month, they said, we're going to turn it off if you don't pay it in 30 days. We don't pay it in 30 days. We don't pay it in 60 days. We're going on to 3 months. And I'm sitting here. I do not have any more money. We do not know what to do. We're sitting here trying to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. Now, hear me now. I'm trying to tell you something about this. So what I do is they call me about the cell phones, and they're about to turn the cell phones off. No, as a matter of fact, they turned the cell phones off. When they turn the cell phones off, I call up the company. When I call the company up, I don't want to call them. What am I going to tell them? I can't tell them. I can't promise them anything. What am I going to tell them? Collision course. I need you to hear me. Collision course, because I learned something from this. So I'm sitting here going, what am I going to do? And I promise you, something in my spirit said, call the cell phone company up. I called the cell phone company. And they said, Mr. Dallas, you owe us, I think it was over $400. I think you owe us $300 and something or $400. I don't remember right now. And the lady said, do you have plans to pay it? I said, we have no plans to pay this whatsoever. We don't know what we're going to do right now because we're like on this last end of this desolation. And she said, so what happened? And I said, well, ma'am, just some things just happened. It just happened. And she said, you know what? I'm going to pay this month's cell phone bill for you. I'm going to pay the cell phone bill. She pays our cell phone bill, which puts us in. Now, she pays 1 month of cell phone bill. We have 3. She pays a 1 month of cell phone bill, which throws everything off, and the cell phones are on, and they stay on now for a month. And I'm going, God, I don't understand. He said, what you have to realize is that what you are dealing with to get to the place I have for you, to get to any place, you have to deal with the conflict. And you have to come face to face with the things that hurt you, bothered you, scare you the most. Why? Because the promise he made to Jeremiah is, I made you a prophet to the nations. I made you a voice. And in order for you to be the voice, you have to go through the collisions of life that are necessary to get you to the other side. But what you have to realize is, because you're so valuable in your spirit, you can't fall. You can't fall, because the things that have made me fearful, they're not real. Now, it never crossed my mind to just get rid of this cell phone and go get me another cell phone. It never crossed my mind to just say, you know what, all this stuff, I'm going to get in my car, drive. I don't even care anymore. Put some gas and just do. Why? Because in those processes, we make our fear and the thing that makes us so afraid, we make it our reality. So what's the first thing we do? Most of us that are spiritual, we go straight to the church. I'm going to go sit in the church. I'm going to go pray. I'm going to ask God to forgive me. I'm going to go through all these places that desperation dictates. That desperation dictates. Why? Because we are so desperately trying to be free of this thing that we never realize, number one, why we're there. Number two, how powerful we are within it. And number 3, that it's going to come to an end. Nothing is forever, guys. So if I don't know how powerful I am, I'm going to reach down to try to pull things in my life so that I can have all these things. But that's not the case. So when we look at this, he says, remember, before all of this took place, and I want you to look at this in a spiritual concept. He said, before you were formed in the belly. So this means before he was even thought about to be a part of the process of birth, there was something on his life. Now, how is that? That is because you have a spiritual DNA. You have a spiritual DNA, you have a mental DNA, and you also have a physical DNA. So his spiritual DNA was already etched with the power and the ability to overcome the things that are within his life. So what had to take place is there had to be something that distracted you and made you feel weaker than you were, so that when I presented this monster, This monster would make you feel like it can take you down, it can overtake you, when it can't. Nothing in your life can overtake you. Nothing. Why? Before you were in your mother's womb, I knew you. I already had an idea who you were. See, when we start to understand spiritual energy, cosmos, all these types of things, you begin to understand that this is all a spiritual thing. Everything is spiritual. Everything. I'm going to tell you something that happened to me today. I'm sitting here and there's a certain amount of money that if we do this certain amount of money in our lives, my wife and I can just do work, ministry, conferences, and just do that stuff. And we'll be done for the next 60 years. A friend of mine calls me up and he's talking about a deal that he has that's over $13 billion that he's going to sign the paperwork for. He's trying to get his private jet, but all of this stuff is in the works. And when he began to talk, I begin to say, wow, God, there's still things at the level that are billions of dollars going on. Ladies and gentlemen, there are things that are happening right now that are so beyond what your imagination can actually deal with that it would blow your mind if you actually understood them. But if you don't understand your value, you always look under those things. Right now, some of you have $1 million ideas. Some of you have situations in your life that could change your life. Some of you are dealing with relationships that will be that need to be let go of. But you are attached to the poverty. You're attached to the situation. You're attached to the environment. Oh, God gave you common sense. No, God gave you power over all sense. Now, he said, by form you knew, I knew you. And before you came forth, I sanctified you. So now that means that now sanctify is the way it separates you and puts you in a place of value. So you're sanctified. You have a life that makes that. I tell the story all the time. I said, ladies and gentlemen, women are the wonder of God and men are the structure of God. So what does that mean? That means, now I'm going somewhere with this. Remember, I talked about to my mentees, y'all know we talked about in the beginning was the word. So this adds to the beginning of the word, but I want to take it from further because I've already dealt with in Jeremiah why things didn't work. But I want to take this a little further. So follow me here. So now, in that situation, he said, I sanctified you. Now, what does that mean? When I sanctify something, when something is holy, it's separated. In the Catholic Church, they have holy water. In the Christian church, they have the Holy Spirit. These things are separated. They're isolated for their value, and you don't contaminate them. You are that thing. You are that thing that has been separated. Here's where your challenge is going to become. Because you don't know your value, what you find yourself doing is reflecting duplicating somebody else's power. Say that again. Because you don't know your power, you find yourself duplicating or mirroring somebody else's power. For example, I'm here and I'm teaching. I have thousands of people that follow me. You go, I want thousands of people to follow me. So you try to do everything that I do, but you never listen to what I tell you should do. Why? Because you, instead of wanting to be like me, you want to be me. Ladies, that's what's happening to you. Why are people jealous of you? Why are women jealous of you? Because they don't want to be like you. They want to be you. Because what we do is we look at the positives when it's something that we want to do. We look at the negatives when we want to throw shade. But what I'm saying to you in this collision course, you got to look at the positives, you got to look at the negatives, and you got to realize that neither one of them are bad. Your positive and your negatives are not bad. They are just that. They are positive and negative. They're yings and yangs. So when he said he sanctified you did not mean only good things are going to happen. Sanctified you means what's going to take place in your life is the fact that you're going to be able to overcome the things that try to stop you and benefit from the things that push you. Does everybody follow me? So when you look at this situation, you say, okay, so what about my life? I was in a bad relationship. I was divorced 3 times. I tried to start businesses and I failed. All these kind of things. What you've learned is all the ways not to do something. But if you give up, those things become your definition. You've learned all the ways not to do it. But if you give up, those things become your destination. As I talked about last week, Jeremiah was a voice. He said, I made you a prophet. You're a voice. So now let me take that a little further to my mentees. That means that the word was God. So that means what you say about yourself, your narrative, your mindset, your thought process has the power to sculpt and manipulate where you are. Now, people talk about energy. They talk about all these things. There are all these different things to talk about. But it has the capabilities to manipulate where you are. Where are we right there? Now, let me say this like this. So I confronted the young lady about the phone. She turned the phone back on. What did I learn when I came to that? I learned that my collision course had to be according to my value. I'm valuable enough that I go into situations and the situation changes because I'm in the situation. But if I don't know the situation has changed, I call that a coincidence. There is no such beast. There is no such animal. The Bible says who he foreknew, he predestined. There's no such beast, ladies and gentlemen. You are not predestined when he foreknew you, when he sanctified you. What he was saying to you is, I know the directions you can take in order for your life to be what it needs to be. But if you're not thinking at the end, thinking about the end at the beginning, you're not thinking about the result. The Bible says that know the ending at the beginning. God knew the ending at the beginning. So you are now doing yourself an injustice. And you are now putting yourself in a position where your sanctification was not valuable to you. It was only valuable to the people that use you. Let me say that again. Your sanctification is not valuable to you. It's only valuable to the people that use you. Hear me very closely. What you're living right now is a life that you've allowed to happen. You're more valuable than this life. You have more freedom than you know. All these things happen. And because of those things, the life that you live right now is a life that you like, but you don't love. It's a life you like, but you don't love. You ask yourself these questions. I stayed married to this man for 15 years. Why did he up and leave? He never knew you and you never knew him. He never knew you and you never knew him. You never knew yourself and he never knew himself. So because he wasn't there to know himself, the things that made him valuable and the things that made sure he moved in the correct direction, they weren't there. He was simply surviving the relationship. You don't know who you are. You're simply surviving the process every day. When you pray with the hope of surviving. When you move with the hope of surviving. When you eat, you do all these things you do with the hopes of surviving instead of succeeding. If you get up every morning with the idea, the thought process, the mindset to succeed. Now, what is success? Thank you very much, Yvette. Success is a system that produces what you desire. On a consistent basis, we can add that to that. So if that's what success is, are you successful? Wait for it. Yes, you are. But here's your challenge. You're only successful on 2 levels. You're only successful on 2 levels. If you walk every day, work out, and I've had this happen. I have a friend of mine that worked out, had a perfect workout body, and he died. He died of a heart attack. Why? Because he took care of his external, but he didn't take care of his internal. Then I have people that work out, and I have another friend that worked out and got his mind together and was just trying to make sure he thought positive thoughts and meditated. Now, he fooled around and took a drug that made him lose his mind. When he lost his mind, they gave him drugs to bring his mind back. Hear me. So here's the funny thing about that. You'll make your body healthy. You'll make your mind healthy. But you never put concentration on your spirit. Because here's the funny thing about that. Had both people started spiritually, what they did in their mind, what they did in their body would have been solidified by the grace of the Spirit, by the solidifying of the Spirit. When you decide, remember, know the ending at the beginning. When you decide to get in a relationship, it's not let me get myself ready for a husband. It's let me get myself spiritually lined up with my destination. Before you were formed in the belly, he lined you up with your spiritual destination. Before you were formed in the belly, I lined you up with your spiritual destination. As God is, so do you need to be. So when he did that, he said, I knew who you were. Because I knew who you were, I sanctified you. Sanctified means separate. I want a husband, separate. I want a wife, Separate. I want to be wealthy. Separate. Why? Because separation becomes the sanctity of your movement. So when you want to do something, separate to get your spirit right to prepare for that. There is your collision, because you are going to have to collide with things. You're going to have to collide with people, situations, circumstances, fears, disappointments, your past, people looking at you the way you used to be. You're going to have to collide with those things. If you don't understand that you begin yourself by building yourself up in your spirit, then you will find yourself in the same relationship you were in last time, the same relationship you were in the day before, the same relationship you were. Why? Because you've never got the part of you straight that help you make the decisions. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Y'all give me some likes and stars or some whatever y'all need to do. If that makes sense to you, go ahead and hit some likes. Now, let's go on a little further. So, when we take this thing, we begin to go, and I think this is where I want us to go. Where I want to go. Where I want to go. Yeah, this is where I want to go. Is want to go? Yeah, we're in 2 Corinthians. Yep, 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter and the 16th verse. So we're talking about a collision. We're talking about how to get to this next level. And when you understand that, you have to realize a couple things. So now, before you get your husband, don't learn how to cook. Don't learn how to clean. Get your instructions from your spirit. Get your instructions from your spirit. Stop trying to do what they tell you to do externally, because you're duplicating a failed system. Church is a failed system, but it has a purpose. Now, 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter and the 16th verse, it says, Let's do this. It says this. It says, for which cause we faint not, but though the outward man perishes, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. For our light afflictions, which are but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Your process has to have weights and pressure. If it does not, you do not gain levels up. For this cause we faint not, though our outward appearance or our outward man perishes. Now, what does that mean? What you think, what you feel, what you understand means absolutely nothing, because it is going to perish. So let me put it to you the way Paul did when he wrote the principle in the Philippians chapter. The principle that you need to look at in Philippians, verse 7, but what things that I consider gain, but what things were gain to me, those things I count loss. Jump to 13, brethren, I count myself not to have apprehended. Basically, you're letting this part of you that is not doing you any good, you're letting it die. Let me point something out to everybody here. Everybody that is within the sound of my voice. If you go to all your debts, all the people that hurt you, all the people that lied to you, people that you don't really want to be around because they did you wrong or they did something to you, if you could go into your mindset and begin to work for the next 7 days, release every debt that somebody asked you, release every dime that somebody owes you, release every hurt they did to you, totally wash yourself of the obligations of penance toward you. Totally wash yourself of the opportunity to hold someone accountable for what they did to you. Now it's going to take some time. And begin to build yourself from the broken pieces of what that person did to you, to a point that you're strong enough that what you lost will be returned to you. A lot of us are so busy holding people according to their hurts, their debts, and what they did to us. We don't know that when you begin to move in these areas, you will begin to put yourself in a position that's better. So when we got finished and I did what God told me, He moved us to a financial position where we'll never have to worry about that again. If you will let go of the people you owe money to, the people that hurt your feelings, the people that lied to you, every one of those people, if you let that go, God will put you in a position so much higher than what they did, you will stop remembering that they did it. See, here's the thing you do. You are carrying weights around, and the weight is, you hurt me, I have to get you back, or I have to be scared of you. I have to protect myself from you. You hurt me, so I have to do this. So now you are carrying this burden around of trying to fix the broken places that they have broken. But if you simply get yourself together and go, I'm not going to put myself in this position, I'm going to let that go. You don't owe me nothing anymore. You're forgiven. I'm not trying to figure out why you did it. I'm not trying to figure out what I did wrong. I take myself and I wash myself clean of this thing. I wash myself clean of everything that happens with this. And I wash myself in such a way that I will only be able to move in a spiritual direction that is forward. Watch what happens. You were not designed to carry around the weights of somebody else. You were not designed to carry around the pressures of somebody else. You were designed to walk at a level that was above any level that anybody could supply for you. I'm looking for something right now. Yeah. That's how you were designed, ladies and gentlemen. You were designed to be in a position where you grow and you become more and more powerful spiritually. But some of you are carrying, he did this to me. She did this to me. Why did they lie to me? Why did they hurt my feelings? Why did they do all those types of things? And when you get to those points, you carry this in your mind. So everything that comes through your spirit that tries to go through your mind gets locked in those places of, well, but he did this and he did this and he did this. Sometimes you're ashamed of the people that you cared about. All of these things you have to let go. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perishes, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. That is verse 16. Verse 17, for these light afflictions, which are but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. So that means that those things that you are letting go are working a level of a weight of glory that is far more exceeding than you can actually ask for. But you would rather hold on to Mike or hold on to Tim or hold on to Tina or hold on to Cynthia than to say, you know what? It's like going into your kitchen and going into your closet and looking in there and go, I'm not going down to a size 5 again. I'm a size 12 now. I'm not going to a size 5. Even if I did go to a size 5, I would look sick. So let me get rid of these things that had me at a size 5 and give God an opportunity to put me in the situation where I'm dealing with my size, dealing with who I am. The person that hurt you at a point where a person that hurt you at the point where they are only at the point where they are hurting you. I really should have turned this on like this. I don't know why I forget to do this all the time. A person that hurt you at the point of what they interpreted you to be at that point. They did what they thought was necessary for that moment, but you're not that person anymore. The moment you woke up the next day, you weren't that person. Cells dropped off your body, your mindset changed, the sun changed. You can't live in yesterday because yesterday doesn't exist. You only live in today. Yesterday is only what you make reference to when you talk about what the past. But if you never talk about the past, then you never find yourself in a position where yesterday is important. So now you are holding on to yesterday, and yesterday has absolutely nothing to do with this thing. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. So what do? When you begin to let those things go, you realize that there's a more exceedingly glory that's in there. So that means that thing that was tying and pressing you and tearing at you, that thing was there to push you to another level. Stop carrying around the weight. Stop carrying around the disappointments, the fears, all these things, because those things that you carry are not to make you stronger in what you're carrying. They make you stronger in movement. So you take them, the weight to move it from one side to another. You take it from this side, you move it to this side. That's all the weight you need, because the capacity of your spirit, the capacity of your mind, and the capacity of what's going on, you are in a position where you're stronger without the stuff than you are with it. Some of us have a problem listening to people because we don't want to trust that somebody knows more than us, so we have that problem. Some of us don't want to listen to people because we don't want people to throw it in our faces. If you can get past all of that stuff, hear information for what it is, information. If you can get past all that stuff, realize that just like they hurt you, you probably hurt somebody else. Realize that the way this world is set up in those things that weigh you down and those things that move you forward. And the things that weigh you down should be so little that when you get to a point that you see something happening in your life, you don't allow that thing to take residence in your mind. Like, nope, that's not going to happen. Nope, not going to happen. I'm going to live the life that I need to live to be the person that God has called me to be. Here's the deal. I was watching this. I don't know if I want to bring this commercial on this show on here. And I was watching this gentleman. And he said to the ladies, he's saying, listen, if I take you out on 5 dates and you don't sleep with me, I reserve the right to go and find somebody that will sleep with me. And so the young lady goes, she said, so you're just saying we're just a thing. And I'm like, okay, I understand what she's saying. I understand what he's saying. But what he was saying was reserving the right to have a choice. Now, that's him. He may want to sleep with, after dating a woman 3 times, he might want sex from her. But that's what he's saying is, why am I a dog or why am I bad? Because I decide to live my truth. And the truth is, I want this from you. If I decide I want to have sex, I decide I don't want to have sex with you, that's what I need. Guys, the environment that you have created, this environment is totally dependent on you being the broken person. Say that again. The environment that you created is totally dependent on the fact that you remain broken. It cannot handle the fact that you will take strength and become spiritually strong. So all the things around you have to keep inundating you with fear. Be careful of the police because they're killing black people. Be careful of COVID because it's going to kill. I have to keep you in fear. But what you have to realize is everything that is trying to stop you, hear me now, hear me very closely. Everything that is attempting to stop you, you have to take it on head first or spirit first. You have to do a head-to-head collision. Why? Because you can't lose. You can be disappointed. You can be upset, but you cannot lose. And the way that you can't lose is you get to a point that you realize there's a greater glory that's going to be revealed in me. Okay? So check this out. Now, where is it? Romans, the 8th chapter and the 18th verse. For I reckon the sufferings of this present time are nothing to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. The thing of this present time should nothing to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us. So let me see if I got this straight. He said, the sufferings of this present time, what you are suffering right now is nothing compared to what he's about to bring out of you. It's nothing compared to the glory. So if it's nothing compared to the glory, why do you make it something? You make it something because we attach to things emotionally. We attach to things through our emotions, and we hold on to those things. And so what happens is the fact that I tell you that you're rich and now you can go spend money, you start thinking, no. So what that was supposed to do, the money that you were supposed to use to get this thing accomplished doesn't go out, so it doesn't get accomplished. So you don't say, oh, this doesn't work.